Bonjour, pardon. I did turn on my microphone. Ça va? Nice to see you. It has been a while, but not that long. Just a few weeks. I have been in Spain. Now I am back. So welcome. If this is the first time to live stream, then I shall tell you how it works. If you want to speak to me, then you do so through Skype, which is in the box below. You can find my Skype address. It's Lisa Cairns 12, and you can either send me a message or you can call me. If you call me, make sure that you have a headset in with a microphone so there's no feedback, but you can also just send me a message. You can also put a message and say, call me when you've finished. Know that I can't get around to everybody's message, so there's some people that don't get answered. Depends on how many people are on the live stream. If it's over 100, then it's more than likely there's lots of questions. If you want to come to any events that I'm doing, the next event I'm doing is in Germany. I do a retreat. It's a 7-day retreat in a very beautiful spiritual spa. You can either stay in the spa or you can stay somewhere else. You're not required to stay at the spiritual spa. It's a very beautiful area in northern Germany, and that's the 9th to the 16th of August. You can find all the details on my website on events. You can find the information in the box below, and I think there's also an I which you can press, so there's lots of ways you can find out about that. It will be in English, the talk, without translation. I always like to sit in silence for a bit before my talk begins. I always do that in live talks and in online talks. It's like I'm waiting for the words to come. So the title is, I have to find it. So the title of the talk is, Can non-duality be understood? And the answer is, drum roll, no. It can never be understood. So let's go to the beginning of what non-duality is. What is non-duality? Non-duality is remembering that this moment isn't two, this moment isn't a divided reality. But it's not you remembering it. It's the way it is. The reason that to humans this world seems like it's a dual world is because most humans are hypnotized by what they think. And what they think is God, what they think it rules. And what they think is the way things are. And it's not the way things are. So right here, right now, this is non-duality, but only in this moment. Only in this moment is it not two-ness. In time, in everything you think, in everything you imagine, there's a division between you that's imagining it and the object that you're imagining. So the you that's imagining and the object you're imagining, and then also in your imagination there's normally an imagination of you with the object. So right here is non-duality. It's so simple. It's what all Buddhist and Jainism and Hinduism, New Age philosophies, or a lot of them talk about, that it's about presence. But most of them speak as if it's that you've got to get to presence, but who would get to presence? Because in this moment, who are you? Who is this you that's in relationship to this moment? In this moment, everything disappears. If there was a you here aware of this moment or conscious of this moment, or if there was something conscious of this moment, you'd be divided. There would be two. There would be consciousness of, but there is no consciousness of. There is simply everything, which is self-conscious. And that's the direct experience. The direct experience is intimacy and freedom, and it's total relaxation. Right here, you're free. Right here, there's no problems. Right here, there is intimacy, there is love. It's just been forgotten because there's been an identification with the body. There has been repetitive thoughts, which has given particular emotions in the body, which are located in the chakra centers. So if you feel like you're not worthy, then there'll be a repetition of that story. When you come into contact with things, you'll always be imagining a person that's not worthy, but you might not even be conscious of it. You might only be conscious of putting other people down, saying they are unworthy. But really what you're feeling deep down at the bottom is you aren't worthy of being alive, or you aren't worthy of being in relationship with someone. And if you keep repetitively telling yourself that story, then all these thoughts going backwards and forwards in time are going to keep trying to validate it and get away from it because it feels uncomfortable. And then there's this aching in the heart, this discomfort in the heart. And this happens in all the chakra centers because there's all these beliefs that you believe and repeat and repeat and repeat. And that creates this illusion of you. And we're uncomfortable, so the chakras go off balance and are all uncomfortable. And then you seek to try to rectify that in time, to try to find a solution to it in time. And you never will, because what you look for is always here. They're uncomfortable because of all these thoughts that go into time. And then you're trying to get away from your own discomfort that you've created. It's not even that you've created it on purpose. You didn't sit down one day and pull out a piece of paper and be like, "Dear God, I would like to suffer today." It just happened. It just appeared, these thoughts and these impulses, and they get very complicated. So every time you're going to work, you might be telling yourself you're not worthy, or bad things are going to happen to you, and then your chakra begins to hurt. So bad things are going to happen to you, would most probably be fearful and in the sacral chakra, and you're not good enough will be in your heart, and then your thoughts will be trying to rectify that. So your thoughts will be telling how you're better than other people, or how it's other people's fault, or how you hate your boss, or all these types of stories. So you're constantly living in this imagination of you that's being recreated all the time, this story of you. And then you try to seek to find comfort in it. But then as you get older and older, you just become more and more tight and more uncomfortable, and you begin to live in your head, and life feels cut off and dead because you feel separate and you feel like you're somebody inside the body, and all your chakras are telling you there's a problem. There is a problem. Meow, meow, meow. Alarm. Beep, 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 beep. Back up. Burp, 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 burp. Ooh. And so then, after all of that's happened, you come to non-duality, and then you think, what? This moment, that's it, this moment, God, oh, give me some intellect. I want something better. I want something to imagine that's really great in the future. I want to imagine arriving. I want to imagine walking through walls or going back in time or something really extraordinary. And then the teacher in non-duality will be like, it's this moment. You're like, I'm not going to spit on my computer. This moment. Who wants this moment? But the only reason you don't want this moment is because all your chakras are like, because for years you've been telling yourself you're shit, or the world's shit, or bad things are going to happen, or you don't like this, or these people are like that, or those people are like that, and you've been moaning and bitching about the world and dreaming of something other than what you're experiencing, believing that everything else is better than your current experience. So of course you're uncomfortable. Of course you are. Of course you're uncomfortable. Who wouldn't be with all of that? And it's not your fault. Even the idea of fault is just a concept, and we can completely deconstruct the idea of blame, thought, fault, guilt, shame, pride, doership, choice. All of that can be deconstructed. You can see that it's something we made up as humans, and it's not actually true. It's a way in which we communicate and in which we evolve and in which we create complex societies, but it's not the reality of what's happening. The reality of what's happening is this moment, and this moment is unknowable and mysterious and wondrous. We don't know what this moment is. It's really freaking amazing that we're here and there is this moment. That's really something. It's really unknowable. Nobody can tell us why we're here or why we're alive. We could talk about economics, we can talk about philosophy, we could talk about the future, we could talk about the world, we can talk about quantum physics and fractals and the string theory and chaos theory, God and Sufism and Buddhism. And then when everybody's like, so why are we alive? Everyone's like, the point of life is to be good. Well, that's got nothing to do with human evolution, has it? To be good. That's very convenient for society that we've got to be good and then we're going to be judged and we're going to go to either heaven or hell. Actually, there is no questions here. In this moment, there is no questions. Questions only come with you and in time and in past and future. Right here, there's no questions. This moment is free of questions. It knows everything. It's complete. And it has no fear about its mystery or its wonder. In fact, it's in love with its wonder and mystery. Isn't it really miraculous that we're here? And maybe you can touch that, so maybe there's like a bypassing of all the discomfort in the body, and when I speak about this moment, or when a teacher speaks about this moment or non-duality, there is a resonance, there's a knowing that something beyond you, there's something that's been here that exists prior to you. You came after, like you were born and you hadn't even thought about you hadn't even been given your name, you didn't know anything, and yet there was this life, this presence, this aliveness, this vibrance. And when you've been really drunk and completely forgotten about yourself and your life and what you do or what you don't do, there's still this life and this presence. And if you've bumped your head and had memory loss, or it's still this consciousness of everything, this experiencing that's happening. And your story is always changing about you. So this you that you think's experiencing is always changing. Like one day you're hip, one day you're uncool, one day you're old, one day you're young, one day you're a mother, one day you're a father or a grandparent. It's always changing, this interpretation. You're good, you're bad, you're indifferent, you're grumpy, you're moody, you're happy. And when you're in all of these states, you always retell the stories of you slightly differently, dependent on your current feeling. You see yourself differently. If you're in a good mood, you see yourself as successful. In a bad mood, you're like, oh, I'm a freaking failure. Here we are. This is it. This is the celebration. Your mind's like, she means something else. She means something else. This is it when my chakras are balanced. This is it when something happens. It is something happening in a way. It's collapsing into this moment. It's a surrendering into this moment. The me is always like trying to like beat this moment. It's like trying to beat time, like boop, 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 boop. I've got to be faster than time. I've got to get it before it gets me. I've got to get into the future before the past gets me, or before this moment gets me. And I mean, the body's going to die. You're going to be got at some point. And in some ways, that's a relief, because death is a lot better than a lot of the other alternatives that happen. Never-ending suffering in hell, or there's other alternatives that are worse than death. Mind always wants something more than what's happening. Mind always wants it all. I want it all. I want more and I want it all. I'll take some questions now. Hi, Orlando. Hi, Lisa. Beautiful to meet you. How do you live with dual people? Here is Orlando from Brazil. How do I live with dual people? How do I live? Are you asking how do I live with annoying people? Is that what you're saying? Like, really, there is nobody that's dual or not dual. Like, everything is non-dual. In the moment, who is this person in front of you? Like, see that, you know, even if they're being annoying, even if they're trying to trap you into weird games, they're empty. It's empty. This moment is empty. There's nothing that can really affect you here. But in the land of humans, I will give you a tip that humans are set up. We're set up to be to try to get what we want. Most of us are in denial of this, but the way that we move as humans is to move towards pleasure and move away from pain. And all of us are set up differently. Sometimes people's pleasure is empathy and compassion and sweetness. And sometimes people are just totally fixated on their basic needs like lust, sexuality, food, greed, money. All people are set up in different ways, but we're always moving towards what we want. And when you don't give someone what they want, they're never going to like it. And this is not about being dual or non-dual or anything. But when you don't give a human what they want, they're not going to like it. When you're identified and just living in this society and living the regular life, then everyone's sort of like scrambling through it and trying to get what they want, but everybody's playing the same type of game. But when you get into non-duality, the game begins to change and you suddenly become less interested in the material world. And if you're living with people that are very interested in materiality or very interested in a previous game you played with them, then they're never going to like it. I don't know if that helps. Thanks, Orlando. Nice to speak to you. Hi, Thane. Your hair looks really nice today. Thank you. I just had a bath and washed it. So thank you for the appreciation. Hi. Can you say something about grace? It seems to be a popular word in spirituality. The reason I'm asking is because there doesn't seem to be anything in me that is willing to quote and unquote surrender. I'm addicted to anything that changes states of consciousness, and despite having very strong glimpses of natural reality, they don't seem to remove my addictions, or I'm missing something. Do the addictions have anything to do with non-duality in the first place? In other words, maybe it's misunderstanding that awakening would remove addictions. P.S. I'm sorry for spamming nonsense in the past on your live stream. It was probably some kind of anger at myself wanting to get released, so I looked for any target. That's okay, Gina. It's good that you acknowledge that. So I think addictions are most probably something to do with the body and not necessarily seeking energy. I watched a documentary on monkeys, which, I mean, it's just a documentary. It doesn't really prove anything, but the documentary was really interesting. They filmed monkeys that lived near a resort, and these monkeys had always, they'd lived in a tropical atmosphere and always eaten fruit, so rotten fruit, so fermented fruit off the ground. So they'd always had access to alcohol. And when they lived near this resort, they used to go in and drink the alcohol from the humans after the humans had gone to bed. And the interesting part to it is that when they documented it, there's the same percentage of really extreme alcoholic monkeys. There's the same percentage of medium alcoholics. There's the same percentage of some that can take it and leave it. And then there's the same percentage of teetotals as human society. And the really funny part, which really made me chuckle, is the leaders tend to be the ones that are really the drunks, the complete alcoholics. So the leaders are the complete alcoholics. Not all the time, but it made me that made me chuckle. Imagining like politicians after they finish their day's work down the pub. So I think that addiction is a bodily thing, most probably, and then seeking is added on top of that. So what you're doing in your addiction is you're trying to get home, but even if you remove the trying to get home, the body might have the tendency towards addictive behaviors, so towards getting addicted to alcohol. I mean, they say it's genetic, and I certainly noticed from my friends that I grew up with, those that had parents that drank a lot, they drink a lot. I didn't have parents that drink a lot, and I don't drink a lot. I drink less than my parents. I had grandparents that did, actually. I do think I've got addiction in my family. But both my parents have a tendency towards addiction with food, which is the same with me. I have to be careful with food. Like, I can't bring like a whole Easter egg into my house without it being eaten that day. That day. I can't be trusted. And maybe I could not eat it all that day, but it's a strain. I will keep thinking about it. But I'm not trying to get home by eating the Easter egg. Whereas I think some people, they get their addictions muddled up with looking for home. So there's this belief that you're going to find God or the divine in it. And then there's this naturally bodily addiction, which you'll most probably have to tend to your whole life. And in one way, it's totally down to you, whether you step up and go to all the AA meetings and do the addiction path and stop doing it. And another way, it's not down to you at all. It's something that happens. So in one way, it's effort from you that stops the addiction. And in another way, it's grace, because whose effort is it? But it does take effort on the apparent human level to stop addiction. But then whose effort is it? Who's at the base of that? You see that effort comes from nowhere, comes from no place, that there's nobody that's efforting, that's putting effort in. So in one way you could say it's all down to you, and then another way you say it's not down to you at all. It's God's will. Or life's will. Thanks, Juna. Hi, Rock. Hi, Lisa. Nice to see you live already. Thank you for your wonderful retreat. It really helped things be seen clearly. On the last day, separation really broke down, and even though I'm still flipping, I don't think it can be unseen anymore. Send you lots of love. Oh, that's great, Rock. That's really nice to hear. It always makes me super happy. Like, it's not like in every moment the reason I speak is because I want to express love, but if I was to express it, it's like it comes from here in my heart area, and it comes up out of my mouth. Like it's like it wants to express love, and that's it really. And the fact that that's been heard, Rock, that you've seen love, which is non-duality to me, that really like makes tingles in my body. And it's absolutely unsatisfactory to the mind. I know that's how it should be. Yeah. Thanks for your comment, Rock. Hi, Etya. My deepest gratitude for your wonderful words and thoughts, Lisa. Bliss and blessings to your heart. You're beautiful in and out. Lots of love to you and your dog. Thanks, Etya. I hope things have settled down for you after your experience recently. Hi, Nikhil. Good to see you. Hi, Isabel. Hi, Lisa. Nice to see you. In the process that starts with the first big awakening to a stable, abiding realization, is it natural and spontaneous process, or is it essential to look for a guide? Is there a danger that if one continues on his own, the ego can be rooted completely again and stop the process? After this opening experience, self-doubts and other fears are still there, and maybe I feel that I need help. I'm scared to be ate up by my shadow and ending up with craziness instead of an abiding realization. Hi, Fabrizio. Thanks for your question. I just don't know what's the right path for you. I know this moment, I can share this moment and the beauty of this moment, that there's nobody there that can ever go crazy and that can ever get or lose this, that can have an abiding realization or lose the abiding realization. But I don't know, how can I know what path is right or wrong? I just know this moment, that's my gift. And I can talk to you about stuck feelings or thoughts now. So in there, I would assume that there's this sphere in the solar plexus. So this is the solar plexus. Let's see if you can see it. Here is the solar plexus. And then in this emotion, you have this fear of powerlessness, that things won't work out, that you can't do things, that life is hopeless or helpless, that bad things will come in the future. And in its positive, it's a feeling that you can do it, that life will work out, that there is hope, that it is possible. Hello. And so I assume what's happening there is that your solar plexus is activated. And so there's old karma that's coming up there, and I'm happy to guide you in that. Like, we can talk in a one-to-one session, or you can call in and we can talk more now. But I can't tell you what the right path for you is in the future. You're never going to get to the future, and you're never going to have your path in the future. And the idea that you're going to end up crazy in the future is a hypnosis that's happening now. Okay. So if you want to speak live, if not, then you can book a one-to-one session with me on my website, and we can do it then. But see how that illusion is arising now, and then you take it to be a reality. Like, you've got to deal with the karma that's here now. I only know this moment. I can only speak about what's here, and what's here, I can tell you for sure, is that thought process isn't real. And I don't know, you don't know, no teacher's going to know what the right path is for you. You can only deal with what's here now, happening now in this moment. Hi, Gianlanchia. Hi, Lisa. Thank you for sharing. Is there a possibility for a body-mind person to integrate full the non-duality? I mean, in every action, thought, emotion, intent. I hope is correct English. Yeah, it is. I mean, in a way, that language, like full non-duality into every moment, it is always like that. Like even when a person's in illusion and suffering and in a fake story, there's still non-duality in every action. Even in hell, there's non-duality. This is never a divided reality. It's only your imagination that it's divided. And there is this energetic shift that can happen, and this intimacy with what's happening. And you can't even say that that's full integration with non-duality, because it was full integration with non-duality prior. Maybe you're talking about the personality structure fully integrating it. The personality structure will always evolve. So the personality structure will always evolve more and more to non-duality, and it will never arrive. It will always be evolving, because that's the nature of things. So that everything is infinite. Knowledge is infinite. Behaviors are infinite. The size of this body, the senses of this body are infinite. Everything in this universe is infinite, and this universe is always expanding. So it's the same with our behaviors. We can infinitely expand, and it can integrate more into our knowledge, into understanding, into society, into our language. I mean, maybe one day we just become silent. Like, there can be infinite expansion on that level. But these are different things. The personality isn't the one that wakes up. The personality is part of the dream, and it doesn't ever go away, but it moves out of the way, and then something else is seen, and then that personality integrates it more and more and more, and can endlessly do that. So somebody that's saying that they're an enlightened master and that they're nobody and that they are truly awake on the personality level, that's not true. That's a misunderstanding of non-duality. The personality, they can never get it. They can always be a more awake. They can always have more improved dynamics. Their dynamics aren't over. So you sometimes get gurus saying that their dynamics are over, and that's not true. They can always expand. In fact, that's a limitation. That's an identification with something that makes them smaller and narrower. On the human level, the most expansive way that you can be is to know that anything is possible, and that anything can happen, and that something isn't fixed. So you, on the human level, cannot be done. You cannot be finished. You are expanding always. And to fight that is to fight the nature of everything. Everything is expanding. It's circular. So everything in this world is circular. So one thing changes to the other, changes to the other, but it's getting more and more detailed. We can see that through evolution, through growth, through just the detail in which human activity is currently on this planet. Like, it's getting more and more detailed what we can do, and eventually we'll be off into space, and we'll have robots as our companions, or we'll be eaten by robots. It's unknown. Or become robot energy. It's unknown what will happen in that story. The human never arrives, the personality never arrives, but the personality is never the experiencer. It's an experience just like everything else. And everything, this universe is expanding. I mean, that's one of the latest theories, is that there was this big bang and then it's just expanding, expanding, expanding. I mean, they don't know, but that's what they think is happening. And then at some point it will come back in on itself. But at the moment we're expanding, so everything can grow. And it's the same with our knowledge, with our personality, with our behavior. And I really am not a fan of these gurus that pretend that they're done and that they've arrived and everything is their student's dynamic. They're clear of dynamics. and it's all their students' dynamic. This cannot be true. This is a power game. This is back to a human game. This is back to a contraction, a tightness, an identification. I have to localize this fear in the body. I would say that is more an oppression in the chest area. Yeah. So that's great that you can feel where it is that all those thoughts are coming from the chest area. So now see they're not true. Our thinking and our chakras are deeply connected. So when you feel like you're not good enough, you'll begin to feel it in your heart. So in some way, you maybe feel like you're not good enough. You're not going to make it. You're not going to succeed. And it'll be related to your childhood experiences and most probably past life. So most probably your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your family line. So that you're not going to make it, that you're not going to succeed, that other people will succeed and not you. I can't tell you what it is. I'm just talking about what the heart chakra generally is. And so when you're looking at this subject, when you're looking at non-duality, you think that you're actually looking at a problem like, should I go on a path? Should I get a teacher or shouldn't I? But actually, in that moment, those thoughts are arising. What's getting activated in you is you don't feel good enough. You don't feel enough to be where you are. You feel like it'll be taken away from you. And that's a childhood pattern that you'll have learned. So there'll be many experiences in your life where you can remember when you felt you weren't good enough to have something, that life would take it away, that life was unfair. I'm just giving examples to help you be creative. The reason why I like you to link your thoughts and your chakras is the body never lies, your thoughts lie. So if you're telling yourself that story that, I need a teacher, I need to get a teacher, I'm scared the ego will come back or I might go crazy. If you're telling yourself that story, that's a lie, that story. That's a surface story. There's deeper thoughts to that. And that's the story you're conscious of. If you can connect it to your body, so if you can see that it's connected to the heart area, you know what the deeper thoughts are. I'm not enough. Life doesn't look after me. I'll never make it. I'll be rejected. I don't have enough to give to the world. I'm not loved. I'm unlovable. No one will ever love me. If it's in your solar plexus, it will be different. If it's in your tummy, your crown chakra, your third eye, your throat, they're all different places. Your body doesn't lie. Your thoughts do. And I can tell you that's a bullshit story. Like none of us know what the future is. None of us know what the right path is ever. We're all like on this precipice. I've forgotten that word. Precipice. Maybe someone can help me in the Skype comments. We're all on this cliff edge, like never knowing what's coming, and that's what's exciting. We didn't come into this world to always know what the future was and to know what's going to come. We came into this life to experience it in this moment, and all these experiences to happen, and we're not knowing what's going to happen. Like this is what wholeness wanted to experience. It wanted to experience itself in this absolute free fall way. This really intense way where it doesn't know what the future holds. And it's the same for all of us in all our decisions. We're making these decisions and we never know what's going to come from them. And then later on we regret it and we're like, I shouldn't have done that. Should have done something else. But we never know. We can put information in which makes us more wise or less wise, but still it's down to God. It's down to God. Knowing your body, understanding your body, connecting the thoughts to the body will help you see what is a lie and when it's a true thought. And what I mean by a true thought is like when it's a thought that's telling you to act. So in all of that, if you need a teacher, there will be a moment where it's an expansive feeling, where it feels pure and it feels connected. And that's the true movement in a way. And it's very empty and it's very free. And it's deep down below all that shit that's on top. This natural flow that's like flowing down the river. The separate self is always like swimming upriver, like trying to get somewhere. And it's like suddenly letting go and just going with the flow. And it feels like that. If you need a teacher, if you need to do something, if you need to act, it comes from this openness, not this like discomfort. Precipice. Precipice. You're amazing, Isabel, for dyslexics. Thank you. Precipice. 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 Great to see you back. Hey, Bia. Nice to see you. Hi, Carmela. Thank you. Love the subject and love how it flows through you. Thanks, Carmela. Sending you lots of love in Hawaii. Hey, Lisa. So happy to see you. Hope you had a nice retreat in Spain. Hope to see you someday. Hi, Francisca. Yeah, it was super beautiful. We're a really amazing group. Very small group. There was like, I think 17 or 16 or 17 of us, and it was really sweet and intimate and very quiet. I think some people really enjoyed the quiet and some people wanted more chatting, but didn't come this retreat. It was very quiet, and I don't see any difference between sitting in silence and speaking. Like it's the same. Maybe that's why I named it this title, because can non-duality be understood? Because I think most people didn't, but some people come to retreats or events or listen to my talks thinking they're one day going to understand it, and they're looking for this high of the intellect, and they don't realize that it's in this. It's right here. It doesn't really matter if I speak or not. It's just, I know why people like me speaking, because it's the same when I listen to people speak or when I watch people, is that you can feel their energy. And I think that when I speak, you can hear this relaxation in it, or there's a relaxing energy in it, this empty energy in it. It's like a resonance, but it's also there in the silence. But I think the sound of my voice and the speaking has that relaxation, but it is there in the silence as well. So I understand why people like the talking. Talking. But if you're in person, I'm not sure if it happens over the internet, but I suspect the same thing happens if you sit in the room with a person that's empty, or like speaking, or just has this emptiness, then I suspect that it affects you. I don't know over the internet. Over the internet, you've only got my voice and you've got the sight of me. I don't know if you can perceive the energy as well, because it works in reverse. Like if you go into a room where somebody's really angry and really tight and contracted, you feel it instantly. So it must happen the other way as well. So I think that when you hold retreats, I don't think it really matters, because I think when you're sitting in that room, I think it's like an energetic exchange that's happening, whether you speak or not. I mean, I certainly feel it. I feel like when I'm on retreat, I have to really watch my energy levels, because I feel like I'm digesting some difficult energies sometimes that aren't mine. And sometimes not. Sometimes it's really easy, but I can feel it, when somebody's really suffering and really in agony. I'm still crying a lot. Never felt like this before in my life. Everyone says at times heal. I'm sorry, but that is the truth of my reality. I'm trying to be with the nature a lot. Love to you. Yeah, I can imagine. So there is no division between you and me. So all emotions and feelings are already felt in the heart. There is no connection, and even disconnection and repression are felt. Yeah. whatever feeling appears, it's just most of the time you have a feeling and then you're instantly buying into a story of it that's chasing and trying to get rid of the story or trying to get a better story. So it's like anger comes up and there's anger, fear comes up and there's fear, joy, laughter, it's all as it is. The reason that they get so elongated and you end up with all your chakras out of balance is because of this repetition of I'm not enough, there's bad things, I've got to get away, I've got to do something, I've got to go here, I've got to live here, I've got to move, I've got to have this partner, I've got to get rid of my partner, I've got to make another choice, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Po Ann! Lisa! Po Ann! I'm happy to see your face and hear your voice and I hear your words, but I can't see this situation, and the anxiety I'm in now isn't really happening and I'm not really hanging on a cliff, which is how my body is responding to the life story situation now. It seems real and personal to hear you or something. Maybe I can call in, not sure, in a hope you can take me out of something. Or in Ann Poo. I'm not sure, Ann Poo. Poo Ann. We can talk. You can call in now. Poo Ann and Poo. I like your name. And I like how you've got it in capital letters. So just cool. And if you don't feel like it, it's okay, I'll move on to another question. Hi, Florin Wild. Hi, Lisa. I'm watching your YouTube video since days and I'm experiencing one kind of awakening experience after the other, but still some sense here that something is wrong and it seems like no end to it. I'm trying to work with chakras to wake up from the dream, changed my personal life, but did obviously not lead to awakening. That's all chakras. So even though you think you're working with chakras and that you're working through it, you're speaking all from the chakras. You're believing in what the disbalanced chakra says. There's nothing wrong with disbalanced chakras, but you believe in it, and that's what's perpetuating it. You believe that it's a long time or that you're doing something wrong. That's simply a thought and a feeling that's arising. So you're doing something wrong is most probably from the heart, and you most probably had this feeling throughout your life on and off, and it's affected your whole journey and all your choices. And you believe that you've done something wrong. You're not enough, and you are enough, and you haven't done something wrong, but you're lost in that thought and that belief system. And then here you are. Like, so that thought comes up and it passes, and then here you are. This is it. This moment, this beingness, this alive presence, like radically awake and alive and free. Do you need to know I'm Ramona, disguised as Puan? Do not say that. Oh, well, that's blown it. Sorry. Just move on. Sometimes there is fear, very profound and existential, and the head starts to become very hot inside. When it happens, I just start to remember myself that everything is coming and going, and that seems to work. Do you suggest something for deal with that? Many thanks for your answers. Seeing it's not true. That who you are is this presence, this emptiness that's experiencing itself as everything. It's so full and awake and free, right here, not in time, not in yesterday, not in tomorrow, right here. So the mind keeps circling about it. This is good, this is bad, I shouldn't feel this, I want this, I don't want this, why is it happening? And here you are with that pain as it is, like no ignoring, no trying to get away with it, no trying to get into your head or get into your imagination. Thanks a lot. I will hear it again soon. I hope I'm not repetitive. When enlightenment happens, identification with the ego dissolves definitively. It also happens that an understanding of the truth is generated on the conditioned plane. The incarnation of truth continues over time, as it has always done even before enlightenment. What were the movements that the mind and body received over time after the illusion ended? I'm not sure I like the idea that enlightenment happens. But what happened here was, after that big awakening happened and that big shift happened, I think I really had to embrace my masculine side. If you watch my videos of the last 8 years, you'll see me becoming more strong. I actually saw a talk somebody uploaded like 4 or 5 years ago, and you can just hear it in my voice, my energy becoming, for a female, more strong. For some reason I had to become financially independent of any other human, so a man or a female or a friend, or so I had to totally provide for myself and look after myself. Like I moved to France all by myself and set up shop, which is quite intense when you don't speak the language. It really takes a lot of guts and a lot of courage. If you've ever done it before and you ever moved to a country all by yourself as a single female and unable to speak the language, it really takes buying a house and you're doing all these sorts of things. And to me, it felt like I had to embrace this masculine energy. And also doing my talks, like when I first used to do talks, the audience members sometimes used to bowl me over. Like they would come on and they would just start talking for ages and ages, and their personality dynamics, and people wanted things from me. And because I'm empathetic and conscientious, like I didn't establish enough boundaries, and because I gained a certain power by becoming popular on the internet, which is nothing but just because you have suddenly some power in what people perceive as socially higher than, then certain types of people try to own that or get that, and I had no consciousness or awareness of these types of things. I had to stand up. I had to really learn my own power and to stand in my own power on the human level. I think that's been my lesson the last like 8-9 years. Like really learning boundaries, really learning how to be totally self-sufficient, really having to live in the unknown. Like living in a country where you don't speak the language is really something. And with that, then now I feel like the feminine now. So after all that process of doing all that, now the feminine can come out more, and so I can feel this like balancing out of the masculine and feminine that's happened in my personality. It's been really beautiful and really intense, and it's so perfect when you look back on the journey. Like life always hands you on the human level gems, and I'm sure there's so much more in which this personality structure can learn and grow and expand. Yeah. That was my journey, I think. And I think also I've learned over the last years how to become a better and better speaker or teacher, even though in non-duality calling yourself a teacher is like, who's a teacher? Who teaches? Like, obviously I'm not a teacher, it's just coming out, but it comes out through this form, and I feel like this form has learned and evolved from all her experiences of doing talks, and it comes out of the quality of that speaker with all their experiences. And I feel like I've really evolved as a speaker about this subject on the human level. But even though ultimately it's always coming from nothing, so there's non-duality, like my true pure speaking of it in the moment, it comes from nothing, and there's been no evolution there. It's still exactly the same message. On the human level, there's definitely been an evolution. And I've been humbled and humbled and humbled. Like all of us that live this mad, magical, wondrous existence. And I feel also from the awakening, after the awakening, like everything becomes very empty. So all your wants and desires become very empty, but you can't exist in this world with other humans without having wants and desires. So I've really had to focus on my feelings and really responding with my feelings, like really expressing all my feelings as soon as they come up, because sometimes it can feel like everything can feel so empty that you have to focus or narrow in on the smaller feelings, on the details of feelings and what you want. At first I was so passive, like I just felt like anyone could lead me anywhere, and I'd be like, yes, yes, like I did the Jim Carrey, the Yes movie, like yes, 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 because it just felt preference, as if there was no preference. And then I began to learn that you had to really focus on the detail. There is a movement, like life is always moving your body, like you get given 2 drinks now, and there is a movement towards one. It's just that it's really gentle. But the movement of life is very gentle. We're always looking for these big, high experiences, like, I want to marry you for the rest of my life, you're the one, you complete me, or this job completes me. We always want these dramatic experiences, but in the moment there's a gentle navigation that happens right here. And on the human level, I still feel that that's expanding. Like really learning to listen to what life orders, whether it's chicken nuggets or pizza or sushi, what life is ordering. And it's really not me doing it. It sounds, when I say that, like I'm doing it. It's not somebody that does it. I've got my head plugs in for nothing. It's a happening. It's a happening. And we put this information in, and it just becomes more noticed. Hey Lisa, I realize one of the reasons I listen to you and other teachers is that you radiate this sense and trust that death or any variety of suffering is really no big deal. I would love to have that sense too. University professors, by contrast, really project the idea of cruel, competitive world, and that all spirituality and religion is illusory. Somehow I can't let go of this scientific, cynical sense, but I want to. What does your intuition tell you? Maybe a way that I can get that sense of trust and no big deal. I only feel that there is a part of me in that is desperately afraid of losing hope or being overwhelmed by things. Despite meditation, all the best. Your talks are really helpful. Thanks, Killy. Yeah, for sure. I think that's why you listen to the talks, because you can sense that deep relaxation that is possible. I think that if you see the world as cruel and scientific and without spirituality and without religion, that's the world you'll see. And if you see the world as trusting and open and expansive, no matter what comes your way, that's the way you'll see it. So, woof! Woof! Sorry, I lost myself there. I forgot for a second that I wasn't dog, that I was actually human giving a talk to 100 odd people living around the world. I suddenly thought I was dog again. Here she comes. She got let in by magic. Now she's going to come and she'll start soon. Woof! She's worked out that if you bark at the door, it magically opens. So that's where karma and law of attraction comes in. So if somebody believes that the world is really sadistic, then that's going to be their experience of the world. If somebody believes that the world is love and only brings good things, that's their experience of the world, because that's what they'll see. Even if they see, you know, somebody hunting a deer or something, they'll see the beauty and the magic in it. It's all a state of mind. This world is whatever you want it to be, but know that there is no you that wants it to be a certain way. I know that sounds really contradictory. I'm speaking on too many levels there. There's an appearance of this character, and this character feels like it can choose, but on the ultimate level, it's just a happening. So it feels like you can change your mind. You can put attention on changing your mind and changing the way you see things, but then you begin to see that that's all ideas as well, and that there's ultimately nobody there that can change anything. There is simply life a happening. So you can put effort in changing that karma of seeing the world as dark. That comes from a disbalance of this chakra and this chakra. So seeing the world as scientifically dark and bad things will happen to you. It's these chakras out of balance. These two. Okay, so just take a couple more questions and I go. I am out for a birthday dinner tonight, not my birthday. Thank you. Hugs from Italy. Thank you. Hugs from France. Hi Lisa, thanks for your talk today. What do you think about that? This longing to come home in this moment and give up is on the absolute level, referring to nothing, because there is all there is. Hang on a sec. I have to put my brain in. What do you think about this? This longing to come home in this moment and give up is on the absolute level, referring to nothing, because this is all there is. Yes. And this is beautiful. And on another level, I think that this longing can lead me home if I let it guide me. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. But see the see that the deep down this longing is expansive, like deep down beyond the fear and the neurosis and all the other feelings, this longing is expansive. In the longing contains home, and yeah, you can let it guide you. It's in a way beautiful. Thanks. I'll Google these two chakras. Thanks, Killy. Nice, guys. That is all the questions, and that's perfect timing because I'm out for dinner. Thank you so much. I send you so much love, and I'm going to be here regularly for the next 2 months. No traveling for the next 2 months, so more than likely, unless I'm ill, there's going to be talks every Sunday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. French time. And French time is currently GMT plus 2. Everyone always thinks the Europe's GMT. GMT plus 2 France currently is. It's not GMT, it's GMT plus 2 currently. And if you want to see edited clips, so sometimes in this talk I sit in a lot of silence and I don't say things, and somebody, Osborne, he edits the talks, and he has a channel called Video Clips Lisa Cairns. It's an associated channel, so you can find it linked to this channel, or you can find it in the box below. And it's a nice channel because it's like short. He does short ones, like some 10, 5 minutes long, some 30, and just edited of me talking. I'm going to put some in playlists, and I think it's really nice. So you can subscribe to that. Okay, thanks guys. Lots of love.